Welcome, friends, to the second and final session of our 2 days program here in Calgary. I'm very happy to see you again, and I'm very happy that so many of you have been very excited about the path, very serious about it, and I can notice that you are all very serious seekers. From that, I can say that you are on the right track. That means if you seek, you are on the right track, and you are seeking the truth. You're not seeking any worldly things, not seeking... If they come on the side, you don't mind. I mean, if some lottery you win or something, that's just on the side, a perk. But the main journey is towards your true home. The true home from where we actually all came, which is our origin and destination. And we came from there to have an adventure. We didn't come to settle down here. That was never our intention, to come and settle down in these different levels of creation. We said we'd like to see what kind of experiences are possible through this power called consciousness. That if you can just be conscious of something, what all can you be conscious of? So we just came for a little holiday to a carnival, and a series of carnivals we created to have a ride. We didn't know that we'll fall in love with these things. When we go to a carnival here, we see that big Ferris wheel, and we love to ride it. Nobody says, I want to live here. We know it's just temporary. It's just for a ride. We just have a ride on the Ferris wheel. We have a ride on that little round thing that with the horses going up and down. And we just have a ride. Nobody says, I like the horse, I'm going to keep it. We know we are here just for a ride. And we enjoy it. We bring a little child with us. Little child enjoys. He looks at this big wheel, he's so happy. And then if the little child loses the hand of his parent and is lost, he cries, and the very thing that were giving him joy become monsters. He cries, looking at them, they all now are making noise as monsters for that little child. They are the same things. How could they change so much that a little child who's lost the hand of his parent should feel so mortified and frightened by the very thing that earlier, when he was holding the parent's hand, was giving them so much joy? We came to this carnival holding the hand of our parent, of our creator, of our true self. And we enjoyed it. But once we got attached to things here, we let go of that hand. And when we let go, whole thing becomes monstrous. Whole thing has become frightful. And we are afraid of the very things that would have given us joy. And then we got into a cycle of life in which the very things that give joy become the cause of suffering. We have a child born in our house. We celebrate. New baby has come, new arrival. What a wonderful thing, new life. And we have parties. And we do all kinds of festivities. Child grows up, becomes totally indisciplined, doesn't listen to us. It's the same child, such a beautiful bundle of joy, has now become a headache for us. Same child has become a problem for us. It's the same cause which gave us the joy, same cause is not giving us joy and changes. We have got accustomed to this, that because we came back from our home for adventure, had we stuck on to that, this is temporary, we are going to go back home, and we are holding the hand of our father. And the hand of the father is not far. It is near. We just left it. We can't see. What is the hand of the father? The very earliest creator, our own true self, the highest self from the highest home. What is that hand which we should have held on while seeing this show? Was the sound current, the Shabad, the word, the Naad, the ultimate creative power represented by an audible sound, an audible life stream, a stream that is giving life to us, making us conscious here, and giving us all the experiences. That was the hand. We go back and catch the hand. This very world, this very life will become wonderful again. It's not that this world is bad. It's got too much beauty in it. It's got so much beauty, love, joy for people who are holding that hand. And for those who miss the hand, it has got so many problems in which we get involved and we are suffering. So we can learn a lesson from the little boy who loses the hand of his parent in a carnival, in an amusement park, and how the very thing that was giving him joy becomes this. When he finds his parent, he cries out of happiness that I found my parent. He's emotional. He says, thank God I found you. I was so frightened. I didn't know where you had gone. I was lost. But then he's found and he's very happy. When he's found by his parent, he's very happy. Then he begins to enjoy the rides again. The same rides that had become negative for him are now again very enjoyable for him. This world was not created for us to suffer. But we made it into an area of suffering. We made it by losing the hand of our own creative self, because we did not keep in touch with that which was stretching all the way back. Nothing else stretches all the way back. When we go to sleep, in the dream state, this world disappears. The dream world comes up. A complete break. It's not that halfway we are here and halfway we are there. We make a complete break. We rise through meditation to an astral stage of life, or we die physically and go to the astral stage of life. A complete break. It's a new world. We go higher than that, next level, complete break. It's a new world. We go higher than that, new world. Each one is a complete break, and the only connection between each of them that goes all the way up with no break whatsoever is the sound current, is the current of consciousness, is the manifest form of consciousness itself, which we can access, which we can hear. How could it be more simple than that? That in an area where we have no access to use any other extrasensory powers except the sensory powers, the only sensory power needed is the sensory power of listening. If we become listeners, we will reach home. But we don't listen. We speak. We speak all the time. Our mind speaks all the time. It doesn't want to listen. When you try to make it listen, itself starts speaking, commenting. You try to listen. In meditation, try to hear the sound of your own self. Hear the sound of the power that created you and is creating everything. The power that's never broken when you go from one stage to another. It is one stream of consciousness that is not broken. And how do you feel how it is not broken? Now I'll tell you that, how it is not broken. When you go into a dream state, you don't have this body. You don't have this world. You have a different dream world. And you have a dream body. But have you noticed the self is still the same? It's the same self in the dream body which is in this body. You don't say, I'm seeing a dream person doing this. You do it. The same you, the same self is in the dream acting, which is acting in this world. No change. You go to the next higher level, same self. You go right to the top, same self. It becomes one totality, same self. Therefore, the identity of the soul, of totality, of the self never changes. Therefore, if the definition of reality is to be what never changes, self is the only reality. Everything else changes. Our own true self is the only reality. The experiencer of this or any other experience is always the same. You can go into any level. The self that's having the experience will always be the same. And the experience will always be around that self. It's a great system. It has been set up so beautifully that no matter how many types of experiences we can have, we still have the same self, the same sound, the same current, the same power taking us back home. Now this is a very good arrangement we made in our totality. We made this good arrangement that no matter where we go, we are able to go back home by holding on to the hand of the creative power, by holding on to the manifest form of our own self, which is at the physical plane like a sound. In higher planes, it becomes the master that we see outside, and the sound become one. It's a great experience that you suddenly discover that the creative power which made you a conscious being that a conscious being or a living being, that power and the sound that you heard inside and the master that you met outside were all the same. And that happens not through home, it comes out about 3/4 way. The moment you leave the mind, this experience comes up, this awareness comes up. So these are remarkable systems we already established to go back home. So it's a very simple method. Simple method, put your attention. The only available maneuverable part of consciousness. The only maneuverable part of awareness. Put your attention on the self that is emanating within you. The power of the self reflecting itself around you. There is no better surround sound than the sound of the self. When you go in, you don't see that the sound is coming from somewhere else. You are almost like a deer, a musk deer. There's the fragrance of the musk is coming from inside. His brain has that fragrance, and he can smell it. But he runs all over the park, all over the forest, looking for where is it coming from. Ultimately, he gets so tired he falls down, little realizing that the thing that he was looking for was inside him. We are in the same state. We are looking for some truth somewhere, and it's always we carry it with us. Wherever we go to find truth, we carry the truth with us. We go into church, we go into temple, we go into mosque, we go into synagogue, we go into worship, house of worship, and we are carrying the real temple, the real mosque, the real church with us on our head. All the time we are carrying the real thing with us and looking for it outside. We are looking into man-made structures for something that is available to us by nature, God-made structure. This human being is the real temple. Everything is in this. And for the sake of the man-made temples, man-made churches, man-made places, buildings, you're willing to kill each other, destroy the very temple which God made for us. So this is an amazing story that's going on right now. We have drifted so far away from the truth. And now it's good that we can come back to the truth and discover that these religions started with spirituality. Their message was, the truth is within you. You can hear the truth as a sound within you. It's within you. All saying this. I've been studying this and wondering why people don't read that. People following religion don't want to follow that. Nobody in their preaching says that. They only tell you how to donate more money, how to make better building, how to take care of the buildings outside. Does anybody say, why not set up a nice meditation chamber in your head? Does anybody say that you can get some beautiful chairs, wonderful, excellent chairs, most comfortable chairs in your head without paying any price at all, no money at all involved? That you can decorate your house inside your head, you can decorate that room with such floral and beautiful drapes and curtains, and you can have such a beautiful lighting there. You can do everything in the real temple. Have you ever attempted that? Have you ever spent any time there? Have you ever cleaned the floor there? Have you ever spread any carpet there? Why not? When we know the real temple is in this body, in the head, why don't we take care of it? We take more care of other things built outside, and we don't take any care of what is inside. And we put so many kinds of thoughts, ugly thoughts, bad thoughts, good thoughts, all kind of filled up the space, which is a place for worship and meditation. We want to do prayers, and we are praying outside, and it's all hollow there. And who are we praying to? We are praying to God. We say, God, I pray to you. We look outside in the sky, in the physical sky. Why can't we sit inside and pray inside and look up there inside? And God is sitting there and saying, why don't you look towards me? And we open our eyes and look outside. We are in that state. So we should be able to see that if everything has been built into us, then the best way is go within. Every religion says this. Every saint has said this. Every mystic has said this. Every sheikh has said this. Every Kamil Murshid has said this. Everybody has said this. And why are we then searching outside? So that is why my meeting you is merely a reminder. I've just come to remind you. Don't forget where we have to go. And now you follow the path. And don't be entrapped by the only clever guy sitting in you, whom you made a clever guy. You give the power to make him a clever guy and become your adversary, your own mind. Mind was not powerful at all. Mind is dead computer. Your consciousness has put life into it and made it a living thing. And so living that it now tells you. People are telling me, scientists are predicting, computer scientists, that in 20 years, maybe 30 years, all computers that will be made will be wiser, collectively more intelligent than any human being. So therefore, they'll tell us what to do, how to live our lives. We are duplicating outside what is already happening inside. That's what we're already doing inside. That we made this mind, a computer, into a guide for ourselves. It tells us what to do. We are not using it. So that's why, if we can understand the nature of the mind whom we have empowered, then we have a better way not to have to tackle him. Otherwise, what happens? You tried some meditation yesterday. In the meditation, you could not hold yourself. One or two of you told me this. I couldn't hold there, but you could be there for a moment. Then the thoughts, what's the thoughts? The mind functioning with its arms drew you out. It was only the mind that was throwing you out, nothing else. Now, if the mind, you have made it so powerful it can throw you out, we should know where the mind is, what the mind is, and then take control and say, mind, you have to now follow what I say. Now, what is I? I, we have thought always, is mind. Ego has been identified with mind. Ego is the face of the mind. The mind has a big body inside. It is processing things. It is holding things. It's holding entire records of all possible lives that we can live. It's holding entire records of all lives of everybody that is there. It's such a powerful and big reservoir of information and data. And we only see the face of the mind. The face of the mind is I, ego, me. And we are using that and identifying with it. Mind says I, we say yes, I am that. We become mind. We become mind just by identifying with it. Now, if the mind does not get this power from us, of course then it dies. If the mind dies, what it creates also dies. Our sensory system dies and body dies. We can't kill the mind. It's been processed like that through the mind we made everything alive, and we have to keep all systems alive. But we don't have to become their slaves and servants of the systems we have set up. So systems will work. I am going to introduce you to a short session of meditation now, in which you should be able to recognize your mind. If you are able to do that, your mind will not be able to give you the problems it has always given. And you'll be able to hold yourself here in meditation. And the mind can do its job, you do yours. Mind will think, so you can think what you like, I'm going to be here. You'll be able to have that kind of a conversation. That the mind will say, I distract you, go where you want, I am sitting here. You can separate yourself from the mind. And that makes meditation so much easier. And some problems you had yesterday will not happen today. Okay, now the exercise will be, we again close our eyes and go back to our meditation chamber. The importance of this step, I cannot overemphasize, because that is this area, that is the room, that is the chamber, which is going to be your meditation chamber forever while you are in the body. You don't need to set up a special room in your house for meditation. Because if you set up a special room, your attention is always in the room. You have to be in this room all the time for meditation. For other things, you can come out and work, go back there. So let's close our eyes, sit in the center, and first look at the chamber. See the chamber, is it beautiful enough? Have you taken good care of it? If not, do it now. Put some nice furniture there. A beautiful chair, it will cost you nothing today. And put it right in the center. Drape the room. It's going to be a meditation chamber. Put flowers around you. nice carpet underneath, cushions. Such a beautiful place, you would like to come again and again. And all behind the eyes, all inside the head, all inside the 6-story house, and you are on the 6th floor of it. And sit on your cushion, your chair, whatever you have placed at the center, and marvel what a beautiful chamber you have. And look all around. See how many things you can do there. Now come and sit down in the center. Sit down on your chair center and do not think. Let the mind think and you watch what it is thinking. Do not change the mind's thought. Let the mind think anything. You just listen and watch. Any word that comes, just listen. Smile and listen what is the mind saying. Don't participate in it. Don't join with it. Don't argue. Just listen to your mind. If any pictures come in front of you, any images, any people, ignore them. Smile and ignore them. Any funny things mind is saying, smile and don't bother. Don't change it. Sit back. The mind is working in front of you. You can see the thought stream is right in front of you. That's the mind. The pictures in front are the mind. You relax back. Look at the thoughts from a distance. They're looking at the mind from a distance. Don't talk, listen. Let the mind talk. Don't join in the conversation. Don't bother at all what the mind is saying. Just keep on listening. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. How many of you could successfully do this? Well, pretty good. Some of you were able to do it. If you can see that the mind thinks randomly things, and we interject with it and become a part of it, and that's the problem, you'll be able to solve the problem. If you can separate yourself from the thought stream, that you are not a speaker, you're a listener, which you are. Your soul never needs to speak. Soul never speaks. Soul, if it has to speak, uses the mind to speak. It's a microphone almost. If you want to speak through the soul, use the mind and speak. But you don't become the mind to speak. Soul is always the listener. We have various faculties operating right now, and the major faculties which continue to have significant functionality in higher levels are 2. The power of seeing, vision, and the power of listening. Other things disappear. When you go above the mind, only listening and listening by the soul and vision by the soul will be left, all others will be left behind. Other sense perceptions will drop. There's no speaking involved there. Mind speaks. So when you do this exercise, which we just did, we'll have one repeat session so that more people can try it. When you can allow the mind to think randomly without directing it, it can come up with the most bizarre thoughts. Did anybody have that experience of bizarre thoughts when you weren't listening? Yes, quite a few. Because you're letting the mind just go ahead. When we start to get into it, we start to listen to the mind and make it part of ourselves. If you don't, it's the most bizarre piece of equipment that goes on speaking funny things. So that's why when we identify with it, we take responsibility for the mind. And the mind is the only thing that comes in the way of us stabilizing ourselves here. So this practice of separating yourself from the mind, becoming a listener rather than a speaker, is of great importance and very useful in meditation. Let's try once again. Let's try. Allow the mind to randomly think whatever it likes. You don't participate in it. You relax back. You will notice that when you are in the back of the head, the mind is thinking in front of you. You can hear the thoughts right in front of you. And you can see images that it makes right in front of you. When that happens, you may sometimes hear a sound from right or left or something. Those are all sounds coming from different parts of the body, different part of the astral sensory system. But the sound that will take you back comes from within you, looks like coming from above and behind at the beginning. And then it comes within you and above. It's pulling you above. So if that sound comes, sometimes it's good to listen to that sound for a while. But if it doesn't come, just watch the mind and don't get involved with it. Let's try. Close your eyes. Allow the mind to have random thoughts and you don't participate. Sit comfortably in your imagined chair. You are sitting on your imagined chair, not your imaginary self. You are on the chair, and the room and the chair are imaginary, but you are not. You are listeners to the mind. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Welcome back. How many of you could now sit back and see thoughts in front of you? And a few more. Thank you. More practice. And you will be able to know that the mind is just your instrument. It functions autonomously. Like the heart in the human body functions autonomously. What it means is, it does not require your direction. It does not say, you tell me, then I will beat. The heart beats to keep you alive. The mind thinks to keep itself alive. The thinking of the mind is like beating of the heart. And therefore it will think all the time. It will think whether you want him to think or not. You can't stop thinking. If you stop thinking, the mind dies. If the body stops having heartbeat, it dies. Therefore, you have to keep thinking, but ignore the thoughts. When you ignore the thought, you ignore the mind. You say, I don't care. You think what you want. I'm moving ahead. You think what you want. I'm going to sit here. Separate your identity from the mind, and it'll work like this. When we separate the mind, the path becomes easy. It'll become very, very different if you separate yourself from the mind and know you are the traveler, not the mind. Of course, if some goodies come, some nice visions start coming, some astral experiences start, the mind also starts enjoying. Then it says, come on, let's meditate. It changes. Now it's stopping us from meditating, and then it says, let's meditate. So the enemy of a person who's meditating becomes the best friend at that stage. But till that stage, you have to handle it very diplomatically and ask it to just think what it wants, and you don't get attached to those thoughts and separate yourself. Of course, people say you have to still the mind. You have to stop thinking. Nobody has ever stopped thinking. Have you ever known anybody? I haven't. I sometimes tell the experience I had in the university where a friend of mine said he learned how to stop thinking. So he was very happy. Eureka! He one morning called me. I found the way to stop thinking. A special asana is required, a special body situation, and a special kind of mantra, special yoga. I said, I'll be very happy to see you and demonstrate this to me. So come to my apartment. And he did. He came. I said, how long can you stop thinking? He says, maybe about half an hour or something. I said, if you can stop thinking for 1 minute, I will believe you can stop thinking forever. If you can demonstrate 1 minute, 60 seconds, that you don't think, I'll accept that all my previous knowledge was wrong. And there is another way of handling the mind. So I said, let's demonstrate. He said, okay. I said, we'll determine this time, 60 seconds, from I will clap, you stop thinking. I'll keep my eye on the watch. After 60 seconds, I'll clap again. You can start thinking. And then we will examine what happens to human consciousness. What happens to a human being when he's not thinking? It will be something totally new for me. And I would like to learn that. So he came, sat down, he put himself with cross-legged and one leg on another, and whatever he did, and made up his posture, his asanas. And then I thought he was ready. So I clapped. And I kept my eye on the seconds watch. When 60 seconds were over, I clapped again. I said, let's review now what happens to the consciousness of a human being, awareness, when the mind stops thinking. I said, first tell me, let's review your actual experience. Don't make up any stories now. Actual experience you had. When I clapped first time, how did you know it's time to stop thinking? I said, remember what actually happened. I'm not asking you to just find a speculative answer. Tell me what actually happened to you when I clapped and you decided to stop thinking. How did you know? He said, I said to myself, this is the sign to stop thinking. I said, it looks like a little thought to me. He said, but that's just a few seconds. I said, okay, we'll now consider the experiment started 3 seconds later. And the experiment is now 57 seconds. After that, how did you know, if you had stopped thinking, that when I clap again, you can again start thinking? How did you know that? Remember what actually happened. Oh yes, I remember. After I said, this is the time to stop thinking, I also said, and I will not start thinking till he claps again. And that looks like another thought. I said, what happened after that? So in a few minutes conversation, after that he said, put his hand, oh my God, I thought more in these 60 seconds than ever before. I said, mind never stops thinking. It's just an illusion. Why did you feel? He said, I don't know how I felt. I had stopped thinking. I'll tell you how you felt. The mind does not think in one channel. It jumps from one channel to another. When you do meditation, you will see you are repeating the words and the mind is making comments on it. And if you try to listen to the comment, it makes a super comment on top of it. The mind thinks in so many levels. When you stop thinking in one level, you think you stopped thinking. You're having that experience. The mind has jumped to another level, still thinking. And that's what I made you recall now. What you now recall was not happening in the same channel of thinking, which you normally think. It was happening in one higher step. And that's why you felt you were not thinking at all. Mind never stops thinking. Therefore, don't try to stop mind from thinking. Ignore it. It's much easier to ignore the mind than to try to control and try to say how I can think differently. That you can only ignore if you realize you are not the mind. Let the mind do this. You want to speak to the mind? Go ahead. Use the mind to speak to the mind because you can't speak otherwise. And say, you do your job, I'm going to do mine. You think what you like, I don't care. I am going to be sitting here. I am listening to the sound. I want to listen to the sound within, which I can faintly hear. I want to concentrate on that. You keep thinking what you like. And thoughts will become weak and will look like somebody else is speaking. And you are ignoring. You are not bothered about it. And then you will be on track to listen to the sound. I am giving you these tips from personal experience. And these have worked. And therefore I share with you. I am not telling you anything written in books because people tell me this is not in the books. So I said, I don't care if it's in the books or not. But it's experiential that these problems come. And if we don't take care, if we don't get guidance, we remain in the same state for decades. 10, 20, 40, 50 years, we stick there. And we say we are on the path. What kind of a path is it? If we go and join school and we don't get grades, they say you have failed. Here we are willing to wait that long. We never get our grades. That we never make any progress. Why? Because of these little things that are holding us up. And now you practice with all this. And if you still have problem, you must get guidance. Because one of the main advantages of having a living master, a perfect living master, is he's like a friend in the same body as we are. We can ask any questions. If we try to get answers from within, answers are coming from the mind, which has a vested interest to stay alive and stay kicking and be the real ruler of ourselves, and gives answers according to the mind's wish, not what we want. It happens all the time. Therefore, it's best to meditate in this chamber, ignoring the mind. Now I want to make one more suggestion. All the work we are doing in this world is with our sensory systems. We see with our eyes, we touch with our hands, we hear with our ears, we smell with our nose, and these are the things that make us handle experiences, and the experience become real for us. Because of the sense perceptions, everything becomes real. I want you to transfer these perceptions to the chamber inside. That means use the same faculties that you have outside, drop them outside, go in the chamber, and there pick up flowers, move things, move furniture, look at things, and hear, smell flowers, do all those things. If you start doing that, who is doing it? Not this body, not the organs of the body, but you, your astral self, your imaginary self, your subtle self, the self that is making this body function. And what a nice, easy step to move to that. Shall we practice that also a little bit? Okay, now this practice I sometimes do in the beginning of these meditation sessions, but I am doing it toward the end, it doesn't matter. In this exercise, you will again go back into a chamber, and you will imagine, pure imagination, you will imagine that you have a table, side table sitting next to you, like this one. And like this one, you have flowers on that table. Not these flowers, your selection. And you have a cup here, maybe it's got water or another better drink than this, or any drink of your choice. And then you have a little plate here which has some nice snack, your favorite snack which you love to eat. When you have imagined all that setup, I'll give you instructions what to do next. Fair enough? Close your eyes, go back into that chamber, behind the eyes, your meditation chamber, and sit on the beautiful chair in the center of the chamber, and see that you have a table, side table next to you, and on that table lies a bunch of flowers in a vase or a vase, whatever you call it, and then there is a drink in a cup next to you in a glass, and then you have a snack on a plate. And look at them and see, are these good things all around you on the right side of your table, on the right side of you, on the table. See, there are flowers, there's a drink, there's a snack. Now pick up the vase of flowers, the vase of flowers, and bring it in front of your eyes. And look at the flowers. Watch carefully. Have you seen these flowers before? Carefully watch the flowers. Have you seen them before? Does the memory remember? Does you recall? Look at the color of the flowers. Have you seen these colors before? Are the colors changing right in front of you as you're watching? Is there something special about these flowers? Watch carefully. Turn the vase and see if they are looking the same all around, or are they looking different? Pull the flowers to your nose and smell them. Is there a fragrance in them? Do you recognize this fragrance? Have you had this before? Try to remember when you had it last time. Take another sniff at the flowers. Smell it. They still smell the same. Do you recognize the smell? Now move the flowers away and look at them again. Have they changed in color or shape? Look at the flowers closely. turn the vase a little bit and see if they look the same from all sides. Now put the flowers back on the table. Pick up your drink. Look at it, what type of drink it looks like. Is it your favorite drink? Is the color the same? Is it colorless? Bring the drink to your mouth and take a sip. How does it taste? Do you remember this taste of this very drink? Did you ever have this drink before? Is this a new taste? Check it out again. Have another sip. Put the drink back on the table. Pick up your snacks. Look at the snacks. Are they your favorite snacks? Taste them. See how they taste. Are they quite good like you used to have? Do they look different? Do they taste different? What's the difference? Notice carefully. Put the plate back. And keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes and come back. Quite a feast. How many of you are able to see flowers? That's pretty common. How many of you saw flowers you have not seen before? How many of you saw flower change colors while you were watching them? How many of you could smell the flowers, have the fragrance? How many of you could remember the fragrance? How many of you felt it was a new fragrance that you never had before? How many of you were able to drink and sip and have the same taste you had before? How many of you felt it was new, which you had never had before? Okay. How many of you enjoyed the snack? How many of you have still the taste of the snack in your mouth? You still feel that what the taste was. Good. Does imagination create all sense perceptions? It did, just now. Where did these taste perceptions come from? These eyes were not involved. The nose was not involved. Mouth was not involved. Hands were not involved. Where did you have all this? What kind of eyes were able to see them? Which eyes saw them? And moreover, did you see them or somebody else saw them? You saw them. The same you who is sitting here in this chair. Which means the self never changes. It has the possibility of having sensory perceptions without the need of organs of the sense which are in the body. Supposing your attention were completely pulled out from the body by trying this. You got so involved in this exercise that you forgot where this physical body is. You would feel that's the real body. If your attention is 10% there and 90% knowing you're sitting and doing this exercise, it's an imaginary exercise, then this body is real. If it slips to 60% there, that becomes real, this becomes imaginary. It's all created by attention. What percentage of attention you are putting to what form and what experiences? What you just experienced was that the sense perceptions are independent of this physical body. And people talk so much of subtle bodies, and they say out-of-body experience, astral body. You just experience the astral body. All the sense perceptions you experienced are built into the astral body, are indeed the astral body. Sense perceptions are the astral body. There's no other body. Sense perceptions combine to create the feeling of a body. And that's superimposed into this. And therefore, we use that to function in this body, and we think these perceptions are coming from this body. You will realize it. When you withdraw consciousness or attention from this body, you automatically step into that. And then you step into higher and so on. Why I ask you to do this exercise is not to get tied down that the physical bodies are only reality. Be ready to experience these other realities. The only word of caution is don't do it too quickly. People do quickly and get a shock. Why get the shock? Because they never used to the idea of any other reality except this physical reality. They are not used to the fact that this physical reality is less real than other realities built into us. So if we pull ourselves into that reality, it becomes more real than this. And it can be a little shock, but gradually have little experience, and little more, stage by stage, it becomes normal. It's a normal way to progress on the spiritual path and to go into higher regions of consciousness. We have all got the ability. And the tricks of the trade in meditation are simple. Don't get duped by the mind. Don't follow it. And don't stick to the body. Stick to the chamber inside. Stick to the being that was moving around, that was tasting. You know who tasted it? Now you say, yes, we tasted the snack. Who tasted it? Not the person sitting here. Not the body sitting here. Who tasted it? The self. You, not in this body. And when you tasted and did those things, did you care to see what your body looks like? When you picked up the flowers, did you see your hands? Did you care to see what kind of hands they look like? Did you care to see your feet? And you moved around? No, you are busy only with a few sense perceptions. But supposing you try to do that, you'll find the body is very similar to this one. A little bigger, slightly bigger than this. And the head is bigger, face is bigger, hands are bigger. But it is very light. Did you know that that body in which you just did this, if you jump, you'll have no gravity on it? You want to try that too? Let's do that. Let's fly. How many of you would like to fly? Good candidates, okay. Let's go back to the chamber and be in the center. Now, the more you concentrate on being there, the easier it will be for you to fly. So if you concentrate on being there and you are conscious of the room around you and its walls, figure out, do you have walls? It's a wall-less room. Is it a garden or is it a small place? What kind of place you are in? It was dark, but now it will become little light. When you saw the flowers, you did not put on any light. When you tasted the snacks, you did not taste. You were very clearly seeing them. Your eyes were closed. There's a natural light there. Actually, there was no natural light. These flowers showed themselves up in darkness. The light was in the flowers. The light was in the snack. Light was in the drink. No reflected light from outside was falling on them when you saw them. And that's the state of the astral plane. That everything that you will experience there has its own illumination. And you can see it by its own illumination, not by reflected light like here. Sit down in the center and look around their room. And you will notice that there are some lighted parts like windows, like large windows. Now you have to track those windows. They could be on the right side or the left side. Sometimes they come a little in the front, but on one side. Mostly you see those windows on the side, lighted, more lighted than the darkness around in the chamber. Look around and see if you can see a lighted window. If you have found a lighted window, approach it and look outside. You see the sky outside. Now crawl through the window. You find it so easy to crawl out through the window. You're out and you can be flying. Just go ahead and fly out from that window. Fly high as you can in the sky. Look down if you can see the earth below you, the plains, the buildings, and how you're flying above. Fly high, see if somebody else is flying with you. Or you're alone. Fly as high as you can. Now start coming down. Fly as much as you like. Start coming down. And go back to that window from where you came out. And go crawl inside the window. And go back to your seat in the center of the head. In the center of your chamber. Sit down and smile. Keep your eyes closed till I count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes. Come back here. How many of you could fly, have this experience? Boy, a lot of them. That's pretty good. Imaginary flying. But what is imaginary? What do we say? Imaginary. It's only imaginary because we're taking this as real. There's no other reason. There's no other reason to call the experience imaginary except we take this as real and that's imaginary. If you concentrate your attention on that experience and that level, this will become imaginary, that will become real. It's just a question of attention. And how would you like if every time you get a chance in meditation to fly around with your master, chat around there, have a good time, watch new galaxies, watch new places, have a nice trip, come back and smile. Say, what a wonderful trip. Won't you like it? Just another perk of meditation. Just a small side benefit of meditation. People who meditate regularly, they have these flights all the time. And they have flights in this universe. There's no way we can fly with this body into those places where you can fly with that astral body. It has the capacity to go anywhere. You can fly very fast and as high as you want. It's just a little sampling. What we take as imaginary over here is based upon the power of imagination coming from the astral plane. Where do you imagine from? If you can imagine something, where do you get it from? From the astral plane. People write poetry. People draw. People write poetry. People draw paintings. People do artwork. Where do they get the inspiration from? Astral plane. You have great discoveries being made here. From where? The astral plane. If you visit that plane in meditation and explore it, you will find everything that has ever been discovered here is being discovered from there. Everything that will ever be discovered, you can see that. And be here. Somebody said, if I go to the astral plane and see the lottery number of what is coming tomorrow, will I still remember when I come back? I said, sorry, that's not possible. Why? I said, even ordinary dreams, which we have every night when we wake up, we can't remember. There's a fade out that takes place. I don't know if you notice that you are waking up and the last dream that you have had, you're just remembering and then it fades out. Within nanosecond it fades out. So fast. The experience of every level of reality fades out when we come and accept this as reality. So long as we are in the physical body trying these exercises, it so happens that we make this our base. And when we have an experience one way down below in the dream or one way up in the astral plane, we come back, the experience fades out. One man said, I'm going to try. Remember the lottery number. I said, okay, let me know what happens. And he said, I remember the 2 digits only. I needed 5. 2 digits came, but couldn't win the lottery. All others were different. So, why should that be? The reason is that what is destined here is destined. If you have to win a lottery, you will win. If you're not going to win, you won't win. And having access to that information does not change. You have partial access, a little bit of access there. You can't do anything with it. If you had full access to everything, then you would know it's all settled already, nothing will change. You will automatically see that. So it's a very great system. I think it's so beautiful. Every time I admire it and look at it, and I feel so, what perfection. How much is the beautiful perfection of the power of consciousness to create systems and to create experiences over here. And if we have some inkling of these, how beautiful every experience becomes, including our physical life here. I don't want you to use meditation merely to have access to higher levels. I want you to use meditation from the very earliest stages to change your whole life here. That this will look like you just came for adventure. It's a show put up. You are enjoying it. Nothing is going to be with you. Nothing will go with you. No, your possessiveness won't count. I have so much money, I have collected so many things, I built so many houses, nothing will go. Everything will be here. Nothing goes with us at all. Neither our bodies, nor our possessions, nor physical things. And yet we keep on collecting and thinking, these are mine. If you just change one attitude, instead of saying, this is mine, say, this has been given to me for use. That's it. Your life will change. Instead of saying, that's mine, you say, no, I got it to use. It'll go away at the end. I can't carry it with me. If all our possessions, all our acquisitions are merely for use, and we remember it, and the possessiveness does not come, greed does not come into play, we use them happily, enjoy them, and you go back home. Do you know the problems that arise and make us suffer? Suffering is arising not from the things. Suffering is not arising from the events of life. Suffering is arising because we want to make things own, make people own, which can never happen. We're trying an impossible task. Nothing will become our own. Yet all our time we spend making things and people our own. It doesn't work like that. If we say we've just come to enjoy, have a good time with new experiences, and go back home, we'll be fine. Your life will change overnight with this change of attitude. So that's why I say, use meditation in a multi-dimensional way. Use it to change your life here. Use it to go within. Use it to have internal great experiences. Use it to enjoy other perks that come along with it. Use it to be in a state, we have a state of clarity about the whole show. There are no doubts, no fear. Do you know what a difference it makes in life if you're fearless and doubtless? That itself makes a big difference. Because when you look back, how you suffered, suffering came from these very things. Trying to take things real, worrying too much. Worry has never given anything to anybody. I've never seen people worrying and getting anything. Of course, I differentiate between worry and concern. If you're concerned with something, deal with it. There was a speaker who gave a talk on how to deal with problems. I remember his words. He says, when a problem comes in your life, meet it, greet it, and beat it. Simple way. Don't skirt around it. Very often we skirt around problems, trying to avoid, not today, tomorrow I'll see, this way I can handle. No, straightforward, handle it as it comes. Say, there's a problem, I'm beating it down. Changes life. Small, simple tips these people have given us. Therefore, if you want to have the full benefit of meditation, use all these techniques and enjoy it. You will enjoy outside and you will enjoy inside. And one day you will find that the inside and the outside were the same. That there was rolled up inside and projected and experienced outside. That every time we want to create an outside to have experience in space and time. There are 3 levels where we do that. And above that we don't need to do that. Only the level of this physical world, the level of the imaginary astral world, the level of the causal world of the mental, only mental thoughts and concepts, and then there's a life of our own beyond that, to our true home. I'm winding up this meeting with you. I started this morning with a joke. I don't know if it's appropriate. People say, a spiritual speaker don't tell jokes like that. Maybe I'm not a spiritual speaker. Maybe I'm a person who shares information, shares experiences with you, and don't try to impose any spirituality on you. I just want to impose nothing on you. I want you to have to share things that are beautiful, things that are great, and therefore enjoy those things. And meditation is very helpful. So I saw that, I'm sharing it with you. Everything I've said is sharing my experiences with you. Nothing more than that, nothing less than that. I'll tell you a little religious joke. You don't mind religion? I hope nobody minded my story of the doctor and the pastor. I'll tell you a different story. It's an old story I've told many times, many of you have heard, but some of you may not have heard, and I think it's worth repetition. There was a very devoted churchgoer. He said his prayers regularly, and he went to the church regularly, and he would read the Bible, he would sing the hymns of the Bible, he would sing all holy songs. And when he went to the church, he found that his pastor had 2 parrots, and he had trained those parrots also to recite verses from the Bible. It was a great atmosphere that their parrots continuously singing verses. He had given them beads, like we use beads for prayer. The parrots in their paws were holding the beads and moving them and saying prayers, Holy Mary, whatever, Hail Mary, whatever they were saying. But they were saying prayers all the time. And he felt very happy. Look at this pastor. He's created a whole ambience of spirituality around him by these 2 parrots continuously reciting holy words. So he told the pastor, I would like to have this too. He said, yes, you can get parrots also. So he went and bought 2 parrots. He brought the parrots home. And when he opened the cage, took them out, they happened to be female parrots. And the female parrot said, we are hookers. You want to have a good time? He was shocked. What kind of parrots have we got? He said, these are not the kind of parrots that I thought I'd get. He went to the pastor. He said, I got these 2 female parrots, but they speak this kind of language. How will they learn how to recite some good verses? He said, sometimes company makes a difference. So I'll tell you, you take my parrots with their beads, you give your parrots your beads, and when these parrots will recite their beads, those parrots will hear, your parrots will also start doing the same thing. It's the nature of parrots to repeat whatever they are told. So he borrowed the pastor's 2 parrots, brought them, and the pastor, 2 parrots, sat in front of the 2 female parrots. And the female parrot said, we are hookers. You want to have a good time? The male parrots, one looked at the other, and he says, throw away your beads, our prayers have been answered. Thank you very much. We have some prasad. You know what is prasad? Prasad is an item of food which we invoke blessings of the master. Great master's blessings invoke. So it becomes blessed food. Blessed food does not mean it undergoes any molecular change. It remains the same substance. But the association of ideas with that becomes with the master. And that's why when we eat it, we think of the master. So we call it blessed food. Packets of puffed rice, they resemble the kind of prasad that I used to get from Great Master. And therefore I am especially affected when I see these and think of him. And think how much grace, how much blessings he has given us. How blessed we are just to find a man like him. And our whole life changed because of that man. So therefore, when I invoke the blessings of Great Master, I feel this contains memory of those great moments. So therefore it becomes prasad. I want to share the prasad with you, with the blessings of Great Master. And I want you to take a little at a time, so that the usefulness of this lasts longer. During meditation, before meditation, after, whenever you are distressed, whenever your mind is bothering you, take it, it'll help because of the association. So that's why we used to keep the prasad for long times. And if somehow we couldn't go back to the master and get some more prasad. We bought something similar, mixed it up thoroughly, so we never knew which one was prasad, which not all became prasad. So we use those little tricks to expand the volume of the prasad also. But use it sparingly and with the memory of the master. And that it'll be good prasad then. Those of you who are interested, how many of you are interested in having it? Okay, now, what I'll do, I wish I could come to each one of you and give it personally, but I will still personally give it to you, but with the request you come to me and I'll hand it over to you. Okay, we'll make arrangements here.